Hey y'all, I'm back. Dano here, Dano on the Counter, a whole new season, season 4. I'm so excited to be with you and share some awesome recipes and to share some inspirational messages with you each and every week. So I'm back and I'm here to share with you this awesome recipe of our cheeseburger pasta.
Mouth-watering family recipes, easy to make meals, humor and faith fill the inspiring show Dano on the Counter. Born with only half a spine, Dano Burkhardt was never supposed to be able to hold his head up. Despite countless surgeries, a stroke, leg amputations, and kidney transplants, Dano developed a contagious love for life. Join Dano as he shares his easy-to-make dishes and a hope that keeps him pushing forward.
For generations, Dick's Home Care has been providing the best equipment and service for patient care at home. Breathe easier with oxygen from Dick's Home Care. Oxygen concentrators give you a continuous oxygen supply at home. Oxygen cylinders supply oxygen without power. And portable oxygen frees you to go. Dick's Home Care technicians will set your oxygen up and make sure you know how to use it. Call the leader in home medical equipment, Dick's Home Care.
Hey y'all, what's going on? It's Dano. We're back for Dano on the Counter. And of course, you know, we gotta head to the store to get our groceries. Let's go. Hey y'all, it's Dano here, and I'm glad to be back with everybody. Took a little break there for a little bit. Just a lot going on with work and of course me doing some traveling, but I'm excited to be back with everybody and sharing what's been going on in my life and what God has done for me. And just kind of share a couple of recipes, of course, that, I hear from people about different parts about the show and what they like. And some people like the cooking, some people like the Dano talk, some people even like this little car talk here that we have on the way to the store. And, with the car talk is mostly just, current events or what's been going on in my life, just a kind of brief summary here. And, I thought maybe I'd just kind of update you guys what I've been up to the last few months since the last episode. And of course it was football season and I was really busy with that. I'm a big Penn State fan, of course. Went to college there and loved the team and a season ticket holder, but was able to go to a couple games. Went to the Big Ten championship in Indianapolis this year. That was a great time. Went out to Arizona, went to the Fiesta Bowl as well. Beat Boise State. That was awesome. But yeah, loving football. Unfortunately, didn't make it as far as we wanted to this year, but excited about what's going to happen. Just yesterday, we just signed Mr. Knowles from Ohio State, so we stole their defensive coordinator, so that's pretty neat. Did some traveling, went on a cruise this summer as well. Went to St. Thomas. That was a great time with my brother and his family. Enjoyed the summer, of course. Did a lot of traveling. Went to the Bahamas as well. I'm very fortunate that I'm able to do these things. And if you know anything about me, you know my story and what I've been through. Being able to travel is one of my favorite things, especially when you look around and where we live in central PA with all this snow on the ground. It's nice to get away and get out of town. But I just been very fortunate that I'm able to go out and do some things. In my history that I've been through, been sick a lot, gone through a lot, of course, with the kidney transplants and things like that. So anytime I have an opportunity to go and do something fun, I'm always excited to go and ready to go. So I do take advantage of that, and I was able to go and do some traveling, and that's always fun. Nothing planned yet, but I just talked to my brother yesterday. He's got 2 trips already planned. He's looking at another cruise, of course, and then maybe a trip to Europe sometime maybe this summer. So we'll wait and see what we have, but I would love to hear from you guys, what you guys have been up to since we've been off the show. Shoot me an email. Let me know what's going on in your lives. I love seeing the updates and people following along on Facebook and seeing what they're up to as well. So if you get a chance, drop me a line and let me know what's going on in your life and how much you enjoy the show and what you like about it. For the cheeseburger casserole, you're going to need 1 pound of elbow macaroni, 1 pound of ground beef, 3 tablespoons of butter, 1/4 cup of flour, 3 cups of milk, 1 tablespoon of mustard, 2 tablespoons of your favorite grilling seasoning, 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce, 1 teaspoon of salt, 12 ounces of sharp cheddar cheese, some non-stick spray, and 8 slices of American cheese. It's a cold morning. All right, so we're gonna make our cheeseburger casserole today. So we're gonna go grab some ground beef, but to cook that ground beef in, we're gonna use some minced garlic and some shallots. Shallots, really easy, kind of a sweet onion, real small, but really good flavor. Tastes really good with garlic. They almost go hand in hand. When you do one, you do the same one, or do the other. So we're gonna grab a jar of minced garlic. You could press your own, mince it up yourself, but why take the extra time when it's already done for you? Also, you have it then if you need to use it for something else. If you're gonna make a spaghetti sauce or whatever, you already have the minced garlic there. So why not just grab a little jar of it, get our shallot, and we're ready to head over to the meat counter. All right, so if you're gonna do a hamburger casserole, obviously you need hamburger meat. So we'll grab some 90-10 here, or 80-20, whatever you feel like you want to do. Your fat content. We can go super lean if you want, but I like a little flavor. So we'll do 85-15. That'll work out. We'll just drain that fat off, and then we'll cook our shallot and our garlic, saute that all together. We're gonna throw in some steak seasoning as well, whatever you prefer there. We're gonna throw some Worcestershire sauce in there as well. Whatever you have in the cupboard, really, whatever you put on a burger, you're gonna throw in to this casserole. So we'll grab our 85-15, and then we'll head over to the dairy and grab some cheese. All right, almost our final ingredient for our cheeseburger casserole is, of course, American cheese. You gotta have that. You gotta have that with your casserole here. You can add cheddar if you'd like. You can use the good old processed American. It doesn't really matter, whatever you want to use. We'll grab some sharp cheddar as well, just to melt it there as with our ground beef. So we'll grab a sharp cheddar and then cover it with an American. All right, our last ingredient for our cheeseburger casserole is our macaroni noodle. We're gonna grab a couple elbows here. We're gonna cook these, throw them all in with our ground beef and our cheese and our seasonings, and then throw it in the oven, bake it all together. It's gonna be amazing and a quick and easy meal. So elbow macaroni, cheeseburger meat, cheese, seasonings, and we're out of here. Let's go cook.
For generations, Dick's Home Care has been providing the best equipment and service for patient care at home. Stay in your home without worry with Bruno mobility products from Dick's Home Care. Bruno has the highest rated stair lift of any brand. They're American-made quality stair lifts and are expertly installed in less than a day. Keep your loved one at home and safe from falls on the stairs with a Bruno stair lift. Call the leader in home medical equipment, Dick's Home Care.
Impact Productions, a multi-layer technology company providing on-site, online, and in-studio video services. Contact Impact Productions to capture your story.
Hey y'all, welcome back into the kitchen. I'm so excited you all joined me this evening or this morning to watch this episode of a cheeseburger casserole. Of course, we're going to need to cook some elbow macaroni. We have some water already going here, getting ready to boil. So we're just going to add a little bit of salt to that, Be kind of generous with your salt. Obviously, add that flavor in there with that pasta to season those noodles. And you can't have a cheeseburger without having a hamburger. So we got some ground beef here that we're just going to saute up real quick. Have our pan, make sure our flame is there. We all know that we need flame, otherwise we're just going to explode. We don't want that to happen. So we're going to brown up some ground beef here. Have about a pound of ground beef in this hot pan that we're just going to brown up real quick here. Kind of break this up into small pieces. This will take just a couple minutes to brown this up. And then once that water starts to boil, we'll throw in our elbow macaroni. Into that elbow macaroni, then we'll make a cheese sauce. And then throw it all together, and then we're going to bake it. So as this is browning up, and our water is starting to boil, we're also going to preheat our oven to 425. We have that set here on bake. Have that heating up as well. Because once we throw all this together, we're going to pop it in the oven and then bake it for about 15 minutes or so until that cheese is good and melted off. Now, if you remember at the store, we bought 85-15 meat. So it's going to brown up pretty nice. There's not going to be a whole lot of fat in here, but it's going to have some good flavor. And then once this browns up, we're going to actually take out the ground meat, and then we're going to make our cheese sauce with the drippings from the grease from the meat. So we're not going to instead take the grease out. We're going to take the meat out and make our gravy, our cheese sauce, whatever you want to call it, in the drippings itself. So you can see this is starting to brown up already. Water's got a couple small bubbles in there. So we're excited to be back in the kitchen. It's been a little bit. Took some time off, but I'm glad you guys are all here enjoying this new episode and our new time. We'll see how it goes. And all of you that are watching on YouTube later on, I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch these episodes. So we got that. That looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and turn this off for a sec. We have our plate here. Little napkin on there to soak up some of that grease. And we'll just use a slotted spoon here to take out our ground beef and drain that. Then to our drippings, we're going to make our cheese gravy here. So we'll take our drippings and then we're going to add our flour to this. Just about 1/4 cup of flour. We're just going to add our flour to that. Stir that in there with those drippings. We'll add a little bit of butter. Add a little bit more richness to this dish. Lots of grease. We'll brown our butter in that grease and in that butter. Our flour there. Almost like a little bit of a roux. That looks pretty good. Once that's all incorporated there, then we're just going to add our milk to this. We have 3 cups of milk. And we're just going to thicken this up there with that flour and butter. All right, so I switched out, got a whisk here. We're just going to break up this flour, heat up this milk and butter. We don't want chunks of flour, anybody biting into something. Be like, oh, what is this dry powder in my cheese? So we're just going to heat this all up. This will take probably about 5 minutes to kind of get all this together. All right, so you can see our milk and flour has started to thicken up here. You can see it's starting to really come together here. Our water is taking forever to boil. But that old added saying there, the watch pot never boils. Well, we're all watching it here, so it's taking a while. But to this milk sauce that we're going to add our cheese and everything to, we're just going to add our steak seasoning to that. It's got some garlic and some pepper. And next we're going to add a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. Add that barbecue flavor. And then just a little bit of yellow mustard. You could use yellow mustard or you could use Dijon mustard, whatever you have in the fridge. It's a pretty good sauce here. It's going to make a really cheesy mac here. All right, so that looks pretty good. And we'll turn this down a little bit. Then we're going to add our cheese. Got about 3 cups of that grated cheddar cheese. We'll save a little bit to throw on top at the end. Take our whisk. Just kind of melt that all together. The next step is to add our ground beef back in here. We had it sitting aside, having it drain off. So we'll dump that back in there. About a pound of ground beef. That's our hamburger meat. Mix that all together. Just coat all that meat in that cheese sauce. Looks pretty good. And the second to last step is just to add our macaroni noodle to this, our elbows, and then we'll put it all together and put it in the oven. All right, so we have our cheese sauce ready to go. Our noodles have finished boiling here. We have about a pound of elbow macaroni that we drained off, and we're just going to add that to our sauce here. Then we're just going to stir this all together. Take a couple minutes here just to stir all this in. It smells awesome. You can really smell the mustard and that Worcestershire sauce. So this looks pretty good. This is all thickened up now. So I'm going to turn this down. Next step is I have a baking dish here. 13 by 9 casserole. I have our American cheese. Can't have a cheeseburger without American cheese. I have our pan, our cooking spray. Just going to coat this real quick. And then I'm going to put in our mixture here. Just coat it all in this pan. The next to the last step is just to add our remaining bit of cheese. So I'm just going to sprinkle that on top. And then we'll cover it with our American cheese. And this is where you could add the sesame seeds if you wanted to. You could add a couple pickles on top here if you wanted. But we're just going to cover this with our cheese slices. All right. Now we're going to take this, throw it in the oven. We're going to bake it at 425 for about 20 minutes till this is nice and bubbly and the cheese is melted. And then we'll take it out and eat it. So while this is baking, we'll head over into the studio for a little inspirational message.
For generations, Dick's Home Care has been providing the best equipment and service for patient care at home. Disabled? Lead an active life with a wheelchair from Dick's Home Care. Your wheelchair will be properly fitted to you for your comfort. Choose from Dick's full line of mobility products, including manual wheelchairs, custom manual, power wheelchairs, and scooters for both adults and children. Call the leader in home medical equipment, Dick's Home Care.
Made by Vogel is a father and son business that produces high-quality handmade wooden products such as cutting boards, bowls, bottle stoppers, and more. Products for sale can be found on their Etsy site or in downtown Altoona at the Clay Cup. You can't go wrong buying from Made by Vogel.
Hey everybody, I'm excited to be with you today and share with you a little bit of who I am and what I've been up to. As you know, I'm Dano. I'm the host of Dano on the Counter. Started this about 4 years ago with this awesome opportunity to share with you each and every week a recipe, and also share with you this time in the show where I get to share a little inspirational message, something that God has laid on my heart to share with you each and every week. Sometimes it might be really serious, sometimes it might be funny, but always having a positive message on who I am and what God has done in my life. And this week, I just want to share with you, because it's been a while since I've been away, of who I am, what I've been up to, why I'm in this wheelchair, some of the things that have happened to me to make me the person that I am today. And, some of you know me, some of you have watched for years, and some of you know me personally. Some of you follow me on Facebook and know who I am and know my story and what some of the things that I've been through. But if you haven't and you're new to the show and you just saw an ad on TV and you're kind of wondering who is this guy and who is this good-looking guy on TV now, here he is in my television set or online on my phone. But I'm Dano. I'm Dano Burkhardt. I live here in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Grew up in the wonderful state of Florida and then moved here to go to school at Penn State. And now I work at, you may guess, Dick's Home Care, where I'm the general manager there at Dick's Home Care. And blessed to have Randy Dick as the owner of Dick's Home Care. And he sponsors our show very graciously and helps us out. But getting back to who I am, originally, I was born in the state of Portland, Oregon, or the state of Oregon, the city of Portland, and lived in Vancouver, Washington, actually right across the Columbia River. And you might be wondering, why I'm in this wheelchair, or what happened to my legs, and how we came up with this Dano on the Counter theme. I was born with a birth defect called spina bifida, and due to that birth defect, my spine was only half grown, and my legs were actually crippled from the time that I was born. Went through life and grew up in a home with two other brothers, where my family and my parents really taught me how to be independent and to be like everybody else. My parents didn't give me any limitations to anything, and that's kind of why I kind of have this show, is to kind of show the things that I can do and how you can be independent, and hopefully inspire you to do some of those awesome things as well. As you know, I drive my own vehicle. I like to cook. I love sports. You'll hear a lot about that throughout the weeks, about my love for football and basketball and all the different sports and things like that. But when I was then 6 years old, I actually had my legs amputated. I had my legs cut off below the knee, and they actually rebuilt my spine out of my leg bone, my tibia bones. And I was actually the second person in the world ever to have this operation done. And I had this operation done over in Portland, Oregon at Shriners Hospital. Many of you locally here know the Jaffa Mosque and the things that they do for Shriners. And I've been part of that organization ever since really the time that I was born. Grew up in that hospital setting. Had many surgeries over my life. And to this point, I've had over 51 different surgeries. Some of them major surgeries, like my leg amputation, but also had minor surgeries, like some minor surgeries on my back and hernia surgeries and things like that, But I had fistulas put in my arm. I went through kidney failure twice. Actually had both my original kidney fail, and then I was able to have a kidney transplant in 2009, and then I was able to have another one in 2020. First one was given to me by my brother Luke, and I'll get more into those stories and share with you some of those things in more detail later on. But who I am is this person who God made me to be. Somebody that put in the lives of my parents that had to overcome some adversity and some trials in their life and in my life. And my family has taught me ever since I was little to have faith in God and who God wants me to be. And that's really who I encourage you to be, is who God wants you to be. Seek Him in everything. And I had to do that from a young age, from the time that I realized I couldn't play sports to the time that I realized that I was different than everybody else, that, I couldn't walk and I had to use a wheelchair and I had to crawl around and figure things out on my own. But because of those things and those adverse things that I had to overcome, it really began to build my faith in who God was, and He was going to help me overcome those things. Not only in my life, but in my parents' life from the beginning, that they would have to rely on their faith that I was going to be able to get through these major surgeries, but also that I was going to be able to overcome and get through those tough days of doubt that, hey, these things that I want to happen aren't going to ever happen. Things that I want are going to be really hard to overcome. And those are really tough times. Those are trying times, right? To where you really have to look to God to get you through them. And I've been able to do that. I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means, but I have a strong faith in who God is and who God is to me and what I've been able to overcome through God. It's never what I've done or because I all of a sudden can change my attitude to be positive and positively think my way through a situation. It's not how it works. It's not something that you can just do. Yes, motivation is important to encourage others and take the encouragement from others, but if you don't have that faith, people will fail you. People will leave you high and dry. They will abandon you in the toughest times. And I'll get to talk to you more and more about those different trials that I've had and trials in other people's lives that I've witnessed. But the main focus that I want to just share with you today is in all things, I trust in God and who He is. I trust God that He's going to help me take my next breath, something as small as that, to He's going to help me survive a kidney transplant. And this kidney that I have in me now is going to function more tomorrow and more today. So that's something that I have to rely on God to do. And so that's where my core value is my faith in God. And each week I'll share with you a little bit more about that. And I just want to thank you so much for tuning in this week. And I hope that you'll tune in next week as well, that you'll be able to be encouraged, inspired a little bit on who I am and what God has done in my life. So thank you so much for joining me. Now let's head back into the kitchen and enjoy some awesome food. Hey y'all, welcome into the dining room. We have Jackson here, we have Troy here. We just finished cooking this beautiful cheeseburger casserole. Guys, dive in, let me know what you think. It looks good.
It does. It smells good.
Oh, it's hot.
Well,
Actually, mine tastes fantastic.
It's actually pretty good.
very cheesy,
Yeah, it is.
but it's kind of like a hamburger mac, I guess. I don't know. You know?
It's so hot.
All right, well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I hope everybody at home has the opportunity to try this for themselves. The recipe's online. Check it out on YouTube as well. And I appreciate everybody tuning in this week to Dano on the Counter. We'll see you again next time.